This one goes out to all you beginners. We're going to cover 4 concepts that not only help improve your jiu-jitsu, it's going to help you understand jiu-jitsu, and it's most likely, because of these 2, help you have more fun with your jiu-jitsu. So, it's enough gun bumping, let's jump in. The first concept I want to cover with you is overcommitment of your own body weight. Let me paint a picture real quick. You and your buddy are sparring, he's on his back and you're in side body or side control. You have your chest on his chest, except you're set back a little bit, because if you overcommit your weight too far forward to the opposite side, he can sweep you. It's exactly what I'm talking about, and we see this all over the place in jiu-jitsu. Now on the flip side of that token, if you overcommit your body weight back in the opposite direction, you allow him an opportunity to regain his guard. So you have to be really careful with what you do with your body weight. I've heard many call jiu-jitsu the battle of inches, and I couldn't agree with that more. There's been so many times where I was probably an inch away from escaping a certain submission or a certain position, and there's been times where I moved myself an inch and got that perfect submission and that perfect escape. I found that wrestlers understand this concept really well. Being a wrestler myself, I grew up being trained to learn how to pin someone to the mat. I also learned how to escape those positions when being pinned to the mat. That's very much a battle of inches, because if my weight is too far forward or too off to the side, it's going to be easy for my opponent to shift my weight and get out of that position. Now, this is something that I do believe you're only going to be able to improve with practice and time, but being aware of it is going to shorten the duration at which it takes you to become better at this. If you're a white belt and in your jiu-jitsu training, you don't understand why you keep getting swept or you keep getting rolled, it's most likely because your weight is too far forward or too far backward or too far to the side. You're overcommitting your body weight. And understanding that is such a massive part of the process of improving it. And don't let this one stress you out. This is just one of those parts of jiu-jitsu that's going to take a while to get better at. As long as you're being consistent with your training and you're being mindful of what's going on, i.e. what you're doing with your body weight, you will get better. Trust me. Concept number 2, inside control. Now you'll see in jiu-jitsu, the inside control pops up everywhere. And if you can get it, get it. Whether you're able to pummel the inside control from a standing position, or you're able to get inside control from, let's say, open guard or spider guard, or you're looking for a knee cut and you're looking to move past your opponent's guard, having inside control is going to be very beneficial for you. Generally, or conceptually speaking, inside control allows you to create space or take away space very safely. It also puts you in a great position to affect your offense. If you're new to jiu-jitsu and you don't know what to do with your hands, staying inside of your opponent's hands and keeping your feet inside of your opponent's feet is usually going to be a good thing for you. There are going to be situations where, say, you're engaging with a leg locker, that you're going to have to be careful about having one of your legs inside their legs. But again, this is a beginner's video. We don't need to worry about the what ifs. If we worry about the what ifs, it's going to bog us down and we're never going to get anywhere. Eventually, as you progress, you'll learn how to handle leg lockers and where to put your legs when you're dealing with a leg locker. But for now, conceptually speaking, inside control as a whole is a great place for you to have your limbs when you're in a jiu-jitsu match. Concept number 3, position over submission. Now, everybody wants to learn the cool submissions. Everybody wants to come to jiu-jitsu and learn 5 to 10 submissions right away, but that's not really feasible if you can't hold on to the position itself. Before you can learn the Ezekiel choke from mount, you have to learn how to hold the mount position. And before you learn triangle chokes from closed guard, you have to know how to hold the closed guard position. More often than not, when I see new guys come into the gym, they might learn a submission here or there. Let's use the rear naked choke, for example. I see a lot of new guys semi-learn this one, or they come to the gym brand new and kind of know it from watching UFC. And let's just say they take their opponent's back and they sink in that rear naked choke. It's halfway correct, and the opponent starts to escape. Instead of transitioning to another position of dominance, I see new guys hold on to these submissions for dear life, end up losing their position completely, and then end up in a bad position themselves because they should have abandoned their half-hearted rear naked choke a long time ago. If you're a beginner and you find yourself doing this, this is a good indicator that you need to learn more positions. You need to get comfortable with the positions that allow the submissions to be effective, right? If you can't hold your position, you don't have the submission. Being stubborn and holding on to a submission that isn't sunk in all the way or isn't correct, or the position that supports the submission isn't stable or solid, you're really putting yourself in a bad place. And again, if you find yourself doing this, it's not something to be upset about. It's just a good indicator. It's a good landmark that you need to improve in that area. If I were you, I would start practicing more with positional sparring. I know from experience that a lot of new guys have trouble holding mount. So why not work with your buddy or your sparring partner where you start in mount and he lays on his back, and you guys positionally spar from there, with your goal being to maintain the mount. It doesn't matter what submissions you know or can get. What matters is that you can hold the position. So focus on that. And once you start improving these positions that you struggle with, you'll start to see that your submissions that originate from these positions start to improve as well. It's pretty cool. And I just want to take a second to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, X Martial. X Martial is a growing combat sport brand that's dedicated to supporting the Jiu Jitsu community by sponsoring kids, athletes, and creators like myself. They produce high quality gis, no-gis, spats, and even streetwear, everything you need to take your training to the next level. So whether you're cracking, slapping, tapping, or napping, you can look as good as me and probably even better by picking yourself up some high quality gear from X Martial. If you'd like to support me and my channel, you can click on the link in the description, use my discount code IRONWILL to save yourself some money, and go ahead and grab some high quality fun jiu-jitsu gear. All right, that's enough gum bumping. Let's get back to the video. Last but not least, concept number 4, proper breathing. Now, from my experience, this is one that I see new guys messing up the most. And I especially see it in people who lift weights. A lot of these guys will come in and make these big aggressive movements, and I catch them holding their breath. I find that weightlifters are usually a bit more aggressive and they make a lot of big energy consuming movements. And often I find that they hold their breath before they're doing this, like they're bracing for a big squat or they're bracing for a big deadlift or a big bench press. When in actuality, this is a great way to gas yourself out even faster. If you ever watch high-level black belts, these guys are geniuses when it comes to energy expenditure, and they also are very good at controlling their breath throughout their entire match. Breathing is an interesting topic because we already do this involuntarily. We don't have to think about it, we just do it automatically. But it is very evident that most people, especially those outside of martial arts, don't do very much work to improve the effectiveness of their breathing, especially under stressful or combat situations. One of the things I like to do when I'm sparring is I like to listen to my opponent's breath. And if I know that they're out of breath, if I know they're tired, especially if they're more tired than me, I'll start to push the pace even harder. One thing I try to do for myself to improve my breathing is when I train, I really focus on breathing only from my nose. Now, this air that I get from nasal breathing is circulated, it's clean, and it's warmed. It's a higher quality air than I'm going to get from breathing from my mouth. Now, of course, will I use my mouth if I need to? Yes, it's like having a sixth gear. But I try to focus on only breathing through my nose, and that is something that I've found to be very, very helpful. Another thing I try to pay attention to is not holding my breath before big movements, and this is something I still catch myself doing from time to time. I have gotten a lot better at this. It's something that I've actively worked on over the past 8 years that I've been training, but not holding your breath is going to be a game changer. It might be difficult at first, but if you constantly work towards this and you make it a goal of yours, you will get better at it, and you'll notice that you last a little bit longer. Your stamina is a bit stronger. You don't gas out so quickly. I find that if I can keep my breathing a bit more calm and deep, it's a lot more effective. I find that when I get really tired, my breath tends to involuntarily want to become fast. And sometimes when it's fast, it becomes shallow. Instead, I force myself to breathe nice and deep, and I try to keep myself calm. When I'm calm and I'm breathing calm, I tend to make better decisions, and I tend to have better usage of my energy, which both of these resulting in better performance on the mats. At the end of the day, you're going to find improvement with all of these things with continued training and effort. So try not to let it disappoint you or affect you negatively. I know the white belt journey can be frustrating and disappointing at times, but you got to remember you're developing your defense. You're developing a foundation for everything else to build on when you're blue, purple, brown, and black. So stay patient, stay calm, keep training. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and got something out of it. If you have experiences or techniques or tricks or anything that can help the group learn, comment down below, right? I'm just one guy, I'm just one perspective. We're all growing and learning together, myself included. So drop your knowledge down below. I always appreciate you guys. And with that being said, you guys know how we like to end them, sometimes backwards, always forwards. I'll see you in the next one.